The first step in this process is to make very clear what our assumptions are. Because once again, the numbers that we find are not going to be precise to our example as much as we would like for them to be. So we need to make some assumptions that will allow us to adjust the numbers that we do find and to let the reader of this part of our business plan understand how we arrive at the figures that we present. So, first assumption is that people will drive no more than 20 minutes to come to a gourmet pizza restaurant. So that's why in getting the information, I would create the drive time polygon for 20 minutes and then ask for reports of people who live within that 20-minute drive time. Okay, so assumption one is drive time. Ideally, I would have a source or a couple of sources that would indicate why that 20-minute drive is reasonable. Second assumption that I want to make is likely market share. I'm going to figure out how much people in that 20-minute drive time would spend on pizza, eating out pizza in a year, but they're obviously not all coming to my restaurant. So I do a search and I find that within that 20-minute drive time, there are 10 existing pizza restaurants. One's opening up. If I can share and share alike the customers with those people, then maybe I'd get as much as 10% of the business. But I'm a new business. I'm also selling more expensive gourmet pizza. So let's just say, for talking purposes, for making these calculations, I'll only aim for getting 5% of the potential pizza business in the Tiverton, Rhode Island area. There's yet a third assumption, and that has to do with buying cycle. And here it really isn't so much, it's partially an assumption, it's partly information. And the sources for all this information are listed in that handout that you got on Wednesday. I'm not bothering here with the sources, but they are available on that handout. Okay, back to the third assumption about buying cycle. I found a source that said 77% of Americans eat pizza out once a month and 35% eat pizza out once a week. Obviously that adds up to more than 100%, but that's the information that I found. That also is information all across the board. It obviously does not apply to the Northeast or to Tiverton, Rhode Island, but I do have a source to back this up, so I'm going to go with that information, realizing, of course, that using those numbers means I'm going to have a figure that's probably too large because those 2% add up to more than 100%. All right, so with those assumptions in mind, then let's go see if we can grab some figures that will allow us to estimate our sales. The first thing we want to do, as you may remember from an earlier slide, is to estimate how many foodie households there are in this 20-minute drive time area in my trading area. Well, I couldn't find any information from Business Analyst Online about foodies, at least information that was freely available with a license that we have. So in thinking about who the foodies are, I think, all the information that I've read about foodies says that they are people that have sufficient extra income to spend on this foodie hobby. So they've got some extra discretionary income. Well, I don't have access to discretionary income, but Business Analyst Online does give me information on disposable income, as you'll see in the chart here. Additionally, I found some information that said that people who eat out a lot tend to be between the ages of 28 and 71. And that nicely fits within these categories here of 25 to 34, 35 to 44, 45 to 54, 55 to 64, and 65 to 74. And because people need a relatively high amount of discretionary income, though all I have access to here is disposable income, I'm going to take the numbers of households that fit in these age ranges here and that fit in these income categories of $75,000 or more in disposable income. And so what I'm going to do to figure out how many people there are in my potential overall target market is I'm going to take the figures that you see highlighted here and I'm going to add them up. And I'm going to do that on an Excel spreadsheet. And that's what you see here, only I've got the wrong one highlighted. There's the one that we want. What this one shows you is nothing more than taking the numbers that are highlighted above and putting them down here in this spreadsheet. So we have 282 households, 282. We have 218 households, incomes of $100,000 to $150,000. That's down here. So I simply grab the numbers of households headed by someone in each of these targeted age groups, put them in here in this Excel spreadsheet, added them up, and that gives me a total of a little over 7,000 households that are potential target customers for my business.